So here we can see regarding the difference in the findings of CSF, especially in case of bacterial meningitis, viral meningitis, fungal meningitis. What is the difference in CSF findings? That will help to identify if it is fungi or bacteria. Okay, so we can see that normal CSF, usually we have studied what is the characteristics of CSF. Normal CSF will be clear and the protein will be pressure will be 90 to 180 millimeter, WBC count that is 0 to 8 lymph, then protein that is 15 to 45, glucose that is 50 to 80, then chloride that is 115 to 130. Okay, in case of acute bacterial meningitis, when we are observing the CSF, it will not be clear, it is turbid. Okay, so that is the first criteria to identify the meningitis, bacterial meningitis. Second one, pressure will be increased. Normal pressure is 90 to 180, that will be increased. Then again WBC count will be increased, protein also will be increased, and glucose level will be decreased, and chloride also will be decreased. Then in viral meningitis, the appearance will be clear and the pressure will be normal, and sometimes it may increase. Then WBC count, that is 5 to 300, sometimes more than 1000. Then protein, that is normal, glucose always normal, then chloride also normal. Regarding the tubercular meningitis, there will be slightly opaque, formation will be present, then the pressure may be vary, and the WBC count may increase, then protein, that is 50 to 300. Then glucose will be decreased and chloride also will be decreased. So tubercular meningitis, it is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. That's why it is a bacteria. Okay, that's why it is same as acute bacterial meningitis. Then acute syphilitic. So here again the appearance will be clear, the pressure will be increased, WBC count around 500, then protein, that is less than 100, then glucose, that is normal, and the chloride also normal. Okay, so you just study here you just study what is the difference in bacterial meningitis and the viral meningitis. That is important. Okay, we can see the management of meningitis. As a first line of drug, we can give penicillins. So usually we will give benzyl penicillin, and it will continue for 1 week at least. Okay, it may be a IM or a IV. It is not start. Okay, we will continue the medicines. Then a second line of drug, that is usually a cephalosporin group of drug. There may be ceftriaxone or cefotaxime drugs. Okay, firstly we will give the penicillin group of drugs. Then secondly we will give cephalosporin group of drugs. Example is ceftriaxone, cefotaxime, etc. Then again as a treatment modality we will give dexamethasone. So dexamethasone is a steroid, okay, corticosteroid. Usually we will give in order to reduce the inflammatory response, especially in case of cerebral edema and in case of inflammation. In order to reduce this inflammation, we will give the dexamethasone. Then we can give chloramphenicol. Okay, chloramphenicol again as a drug. Then sometimes we will give amoxicillin. So these all are the drugs usually we will give for the meningitis, and the medicines may vary based on the based on the causative organism. Okay. In case of bacteria, we will give this type of drugs. In case of virus, the drug may vary. Some more drugs we will give for meningitis. We can see that first one, codeine. So codeine is a drug that is used for pain. Okay, headache. In order to relieve the headache, we will give the codeine. Okay, in the clinical features we have seen most of the patient will have the headache. So in order to relieve that, we will give the codeine. Next drug we are giving is acetaminophen or paracetamol or the aspirin in order to reduce the temperature. We have seen the patient will have the 100 or hypyroxia or more than 100 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. So in order to relieve that, we will give the acetaminophen drugs. Next one, phenytoin. Phenytoin, it's a management of epilepsy. Some patient may show epileptic features. So in order to relieve that, the patient should get phenytoin. It is an anticonvulsant drugs. Next one, mannitol. Mannitol in order to reduce the cerebral edema. Okay. So mannitol is an osmotic diuresis. Okay. Or it's a drug. The classification is, mannitol classification is osmotic diuretic. So in order to relieve edema, cerebral edema, we will give this drug. Most of the time, most of the patient will get this drug with meningitis. Okay, it's a complication. Cerebral edema is a complication, so it should be reduced. So most of the patient will get this mannitol. Next one, the IV fluids. IV fluids, we knew that the patient will have the high fever. Okay, high fever. So the metabolic rate will be increased, and there will be insensible fluid loss. Increased insensible fluid loss, then there is a chance for dehydration. So in order to maintain or in order to relieve all these problems, we will give the fluid therapy. Okay, most of the time the patient will have the intravenous fluid. Next thing, bed rest. Okay, the patient should take adequate bed rest. That is necessary for the cure of disease. And when reducing the temperature, we have to we should not allow the patient to shiver. Okay, so the excessive shiver that may cause a rebound temperature. So when you are giving a tepid bath, don't allow the patient to shiver. Okay, I hope you understood. Excessive shivering, or if we are reducing the temperature in hypothermic state, the patient may chance to get shivering. Okay, don't allow that because there is a chance for rebound headache. Okay, so that's all regarding the meningitis.